On SWAG, Stratton Company announcing a 3-year multi-million dollar contract extension. That's on SWAG. On CISS providing a first.
Good morning, guys.
Update. That's on CISS.
XLB is definitely holding strong. Yeah, materials are doing well. They could be doing well. The only issue that I have is they're not really giving a buy spot at the moment. Silver's a little stretched from the 50, so not a ton to do here. I just own some NEM, and we're just kind of letting this thing work so long as gold and silver continue to act well. So. Yeah, I was looking at FIGR yesterday. Yeah. I mean, look, if you're paying attention to some of these spots, they can be buyable. This one's still a little bit, I think, extended from the 50 simple, so there's not tons to do with it. Yeah, just a little bit. Rocket Lab was a bit better right into the 20-day. Is it buyable over yesterday's highs? It could be, but I kind of prefer to buy these into the ascending moving average. So like really right in here would have been your spot. My thoughts on SSRM. Yeah, yesterday. I don't and what? And SLI? Lithium. Yeah, wow, this one doesn't look all that bad. You also have ALB. There's another lithium stock. This is kind of your leader, and then LAC is kind of starting to set up here. Correct. Yeah, I only buy 620 setups around daily key areas. Well, A-Lab wasn't really you can't really use that entry tactic in a stock that's extended. Right, Ivan? So it doesn't really matter that it triggers a 620 setup in here. Buying a stock that's this extended from the 50-day is not the way, right? You're 8 times its ATR from the 50. Yesterday, it would have been like 7 times. So you just can't buy it just because it's giving you a 5-minute setup. There is no setup on the daily, and ultimately, A-Lab. Got it. Excuse me. Misunderstood. Yeah, it just didn't close well. Lemonade. No. High volume close would have been earnings. Yeah, yesterday wasn't a high volume close. I mean, it was, but it's not what I'm looking for personally. Yeah, Tesla's interesting. Hopefully this thing can just slow down a touch so we can get involved at some point. Intel, I mean, we don't know if this is going to get bought up for earnings. Just a little digestion here would be good. A nice move up and then a high tight flag would be sweet, right? Just stay above the 10-day as the 20-day catches up and we could be good to go. Yeah, just a little extended. SIDU, I mean, this one's a little bit more speculative. I know a lot of people are kind of watching this one. I guess a space stock, so who knows? Could be interesting. SHLS, yeah, solar. Man, solars are definitely waking up when you look at TAN. TAN to me looks great. I don't know about that. I mean, he does some arbitrage kind of trading, so give me 1 second, guys. Sorry, I'm just watching the silver market. Yeah, VRT was pretty interesting. They kind of gap it up, and it had a pretty nice setup, only to just dump it all day. Don't really know what to make of that, honestly. Such a nice little setup, and they kind of ruin it. They could have just kept it going. Alcoa. I mean, Joe, I don't know that Joby's today's the day. I don't know. Where do we get long this thing? You've clearly got some sellers all the way up until $16, so maybe over 16. Yeah, YPF Argentina looks pretty good. ARGT looks pretty damn good. Nice job buying TAN. Yeah, biotechs are interesting. You got to know a lot about your biotechs before getting involved. You see a lot of call options on SMCI and Netflix. How do you see them technically and catching? Well, I don't like to really try and catch bottoms because things can just continue to fade off. Also, I'm short Netflix, so I don't really have too much of an opinion here. I'm down to my trailing position. If you get long, I hope you make money and I can eventually get stopped out back above the 20. But I've been short for about 2 months now, so there's really nothing left for me to do. And SMCI, I mean, This name has been a laggard within the semi space for, I don't know, since it topped. I mean, this thing looks, pretty god awful here. I wouldn't really want to try and catch a bottom. How do you deal with getting shaken out? Oh yeah, USAR, and then a few days ago, nothing. I mean, what are you going to do? You buy this thing a few days ago, and then you get shaken out, and then all of a sudden, it's ripping the very next day. I mean, what are you going to do, man? That's just kind of trading in this environment at the moment. Yeah, RDW. It's gapping up. It got a price target increase. Somebody showed me. Jazz was on the watch list. Jazz remains on the watch list. Not a bad one. GSAT, I don't know. I think GSAT's lagging a little bit to the names in the group, but I think AVGO looks bad. I think AVGO also gapped down overnight with Intel. I mean, this looks bad. Nothing about AVGO looks nice. A date with the 200-day at the very least is my thinking. I mean, we're gapping down underneath this, consolidation range, and we're at what, 320? I mean, we're only 4% away basically from the 200 simple moving average. Doesn't look good. Would I be a buyer of ARC? Not yet. Silver futures yesterday was a high type flag technically? No. Yeah, no, this isn't considered a high type flag. High type flags aren't that extended from the 50. And they actually get tight for more than just 3 days. Thoughts on Chime? Fintech stock? A little bit more digestion here. This looks good. Chime doesn't look bad. LEU is lagging the group. Yeah, in the nuclear group. LEU and you have CCJ. It's weird that this is not keeping up with the others. UEC. SMR is also a laggard. I mean, this looks bad. It's it's literally below the 200-day. It's below a sharply falling 50. I mean, look, maybe this period ends up looking a whole lot like this one before a big move, but you just don't know that. And it's below the 200. You know how much overhead supply you have in here? Tons. No, I didn't. I still have my NVIDIA. I saw the gap up. But it's such a slow mover, it doesn't even matter. I mean, we're literally right at yesterday's highs, which I held through. We're up like, I don't even know what we're up from there. 60 cents. Yeah, SMR's a laggard. But I don't know, guys, do yourselves a favor. Trust me on this one. Put a 200 simple moving average on your chart. And if it's below the 200 SMA, leave it alone. It's literally the easiest thing in the world. Price is literally telling you that the trend over the last 200 days is down. When price is trading below the 200 SMA, over the last 200 days, price is in a downtrend. Right? If you want to be long something in an uptrend. If you want to trade capitulation, which just means something violently falls, right? That's a totally different story, and that's a totally different trade, right? I remember QB for banks during the whole San Fernando Valley Bank washout, right? QB. I was watching QB right literally on this day where I got some in my eye, where you're falling, then you speed up, a bank blows up, and QB, I'm literally watching this thing go from $30 to $6 in 5 days. Or if you want to trade capitulation, trade capitulation. But that's a totally different trade than just literally buying something that's steadily falling below the 200 simple moving average. Now, if you see this as a potential head and shoulders bottom, and you're like, here's your left shoulder, here's your head, here's your right shoulder, you're nice and tight, I want to buy the breakout. Okay, I'm with it too, right? I don't hate that every now and again. Where's your entry? Probably over this nice little tight days high. And then what's your target? Probably the 200 simple moving average. What's your stop low of day? I get all of that. And then you're going to tell me Oklo also looks fine. And then NNE is one to watch with the group. And then, right, like I'm all for that. I don't think that that's such a big deal. Every now and again. But there's so many charts well above their 200 simple moving average that you don't really need to be trading an SMR. If you want to trade it, right? It's gone up, it's tightening up, right? It's giving you a low risk spot. All those things are fine. Thoughts on SHLS? But when you've got a lot of stocks like this one above its 200 simple moving average, much better. When you had a name like Array yesterday above its 200 simple moving average and trending up and creating a nice flat base and a nice move up and a nice higher low and a nice consolidation and a nice little flat base breakout level, way, way, way better, right? There was a reason a GRAL was on my watch list the night before, right? And look at the move it made yesterday. It's been in a nice uptrend. It's been going sideways, made a nice move up. It consolidated, had a super tight inside day above all key moving averages versus trying to look for a bottom in an SMR. See the difference? Shark Ninja, not bad. Is this just a big cup and handle and we're just kind of building out the handle? I'd like to see the 50 catch up just a little bit more. Yeah, I don't really I got stopped out on SEI, even though this thing is, higher. I bought this thing on the 9th, and then I got stopped out that Monday, unfortunately, only to really see this thing grind higher. I'm not too concerned about it. I own XOM. I'm just going to kind of leave the energy-related plays alone. I just own XOM. I'm just going to let this thing work. UMAC, God, the right-hand side of this little consolidation, it's just not really tightening up any. What's going on with iron here? Nothing really. BORR. Yeah, better. Bore drilling. I mean, this is definitely better. Better than SMR, I'll tell you that. Do I prefer a flat base breakout or a VCP? They're effectively the exact same thing. You get a flat base and you get volatility contraction under the horizontal pivot. Yeah, MP looks like it's, it's above all key moving averages, which is important. APLD. APLD to me doesn't look all that bad, but if an iron's going to continue lower, if APLD is going to continue lower, if Cypher is going to continue lower, or if I meant to say if Cypher and iron are going to continue lower and CoreWeave's not going to do much, then APLD, you could kind of see how this one's fading off and iron's doing something very similar. Yeah, I mean, Rocket Lab, I thought into the 20 simple moving average yesterday would have been pretty decent. CoreWeave, you could see CoreWeave fading off as well. I mean, we could call this a higher low, but I don't really see the setup other than when it got super tight in here. And I mean, it's fading off at the moment. Thoughts on some of these recent IPOs that don't have the 200? CoreWeave was actually a decent. rally back. Yeah, back through the 50. Yeah, I mean, CoreWeave I thought got nice and tight. It finally stopped going down and then started to build some higher lows and then got tight on the right hand side. So, it wasn't necessarily some terrible kind of a setup here because it's offering a nice tight daily consolidation. Um, but some of these others, man, like this circle, some of these just don't look right. Am I looking to short any of the metals? The only metal I would, I mean, I probably shouldn't be, but I have been looking to short them. Yeah. But I probably shouldn't be. I'm kind of noticing a little bit of weakness in the overnight session on something like AA after earnings. So, there's some aluminum, SCCO yesterday, for copper, FCX. I didn't short any of these. FCX, maybe it just needs a little bit more digestion. I don't really think anything is totally wrong with them, but yeah, I think 3 month relative strength is probably my favorite. 3 month relative strength is my favorite way to track group strength. CLS, it looks a little sketchy here. Looks a little sketchy. Looks almost like another version of AVGO, except this is a broadening pattern. AVGO looks rough too. No, TE, I don't really want to short. It's not that extended. It's not like a parabolic move. I would rather, focus some of my attention on like the silver short whenever the hell this thing's going to be done going up. TSCM, yeah, frustrating. Where do you buy some of this stuff? Off ascending moving averages is probably your best bet. AOI doesn't have the power. CLSK is not the best within its group. I'd rather focus some attention on like Cypher or Iron. GRAL, you had two spots, and I talked about it on the watch list video. You had over prior day high, which was this nice tight day, or I thought over Tuesday's high, 106 and a quarter. Thoughts on FIGR? Could use some digestion. AEVA still doesn't look right. If you bought AEVA off the 200, great. You caught a really nice quick move and you got yourself paid quickly and you could kind of just sit through this. But right here, it just doesn't look like anything. I have no general thoughts on Intel other than it's down a bunch on earnings and we don't know if it's going to catch a bid, right? We just don't know. I mean, it's down to the 10-day, but I'm not going to guess that a bottom's got to be put in, right? It could just keep fading lower for all we know. So instead of predicting what's going to happen, let's just wait and see what's going to happen and then wait for it to actually tighten up. It's been a little bit difficult, but if your stock selection has been better, mine has been shit. So I'm just keeping it honest. My stock selection recently has been poor. So like on the day when my alert goes off for SanDisk, literally on the 2nd of Friday, the 2nd of January, what do I buy? I buy Reddit. And I end up buying right here. I thought this was a higher low. And then I end up buying ALAB. And I thought this was a low cheap breakout, potentially, right? Of course, we don't know what's going to happen the next day. So I thought this was getting to be a low cheap breakout. So instead of buying SanDisk. And then yesterday, I buy APLD, right? Thinking we're building this little bull flag. I'm going to buy this thing as it's starting to turn back up. And instead, I don't buy Rocket Lab. So my stock selection has been shit. On the flip side, I do own something like XOM, but it's a slow turtle, right? And then, I've been short something like Netflix for a few months. So it's like, okay, fine. I noticed some weakness in software that's been paying. I noticed some strength in the energy names. Okay, fine. That's been paying. But yeah, it's just been a little choppy, right? I've been sitting in NEM since the beginning of December. Okay, fine, right? I noticed this building out a higher low as well, getting nice and tight, nice little tight day. Got long on the prior day high, right? Over prior day high. This has been fairly easy to hold as well. RGTI worth stalking? I mean, these quantum names really don't act that great. I don't understand the love for these quantum stocks. They just don't act that great. Like worth stalking for a long. I mean, let's see some momentum first, and then we can buy it after it tightens. But there is no momentum. Momentum is to the downside, and then price is literally just flatlined, and we're not going anywhere. Right? Like, let's wait for a little bit of momentum up and then some digestion. There's no momentum up. Any little momentum up got quickly beaten right back down. And then any little momentum up got quickly beaten back down. And any little momentum up has just gone absolutely nowhere. Food for thought. Nice job, Vino. That's how you got to do it. You got to study old charts. What did the biggest movers look like before they made their move? What groups were they in? You'll also notice if you're studying some of the biggest winners throughout whatever time frame, you'll notice that oftentimes stocks are moving together in the same group, right? Like look at Micron right now. Is it any coincidence that SanDisk, WDC, and STX are also moving? Look at the silver miners right now. Is it any coincidence that it's just not one silver miner, but a dozen of them? VIAV, this doesn't look that bad. VIAV looks good. It's another one that looks good. Big move up, nice digestion. Before stocks can go 1,000%, they first have to go up 100. Do I take into consideration the wicks on a candle or only the open? It depends the setup. On a high volume close setup, I only care about the close. Bit deer. I don't know about Bit deer. Riot better for sure. Riot's much better. It bounced off the 200, which is exactly what you want to see, and it's been so far a fairly orderly pullback, which is good. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get long before an earnings report, which comes out next Wednesday. But for now, this just isn't going anywhere. This thing hasn't been going anywhere since October. Now, that's good considering the move up. But for now, it just kind of looks like it's not really breaking out. It is below the 50. I don't really think about anything about CLS here. Are you ever staying away from the markets? No, there could always be something to do to either side of the market, long or short. And again, I don't necessarily want to stay away from the markets per se, because even if you're not taking a trade, you at least need to stay in tune with what's happening. When you are adding symbols to a watch list, do you read about them or just company name? Because you always mention what company does what. Yeah, the reason I mention what a company does is because you need to make that association very quickly, because you have to remember that stocks move together in groups, right? That's so important. Stocks don't just move by themselves like this one good looking setup, but it's in a shitty group. That doesn't help you at all, right? But all of a sudden you can have a shitty looking chart setup, but it's in an amazing group, and it's going to actually make a decent move because of how strong the group is. That's the reality. When the group sucks, the stock sucks. When the group is great, the stock is in a much better position, even if the technicals suck. Yeah, it could be an improving group. Yeah, it could be considered an improving group. Yes, SIDU is pretty interesting. Yeah, on Thinkorswim I use alerts. Also on TradingView I use alerts. Yeah, Shopify. I mean, this looks rough, man. Shopify looks absolutely disgusting. I mean, there's no momentum. It's right up against the 200-day. I mean, it could bounce at the 200, but you've definitely got some exiting volume here, and you've got earnings coming up. So NVT, yeah, this one is on the watch list as well. That's holding up well. Thoughts on MP? It needs a little bit more work. Rare earth stocks have been decent, but a little bit more work. No, IONQ, same thing, Gavin. It's the same thing with Rigetti. Where is the momentum? Move has been down, and then we've just been going sideways. There is literally no momentum at all in the quantums, at all. There hasn't been momentum in this thing since it fell, and then it made, a whatever this was, 50% move down, and then all it's been doing is going sideways. Momentum is actually down. Literally, its momentum is down. I don't understand. I mentioned the other day, it looks like quantums are ready for a leg lower. I got so much pushback on that thought. And here I would say, where the hell is the momentum? There's no momentum. They look like shit. No, I didn't take, and maybe they'll look better when it could break out of this range. Okay, when IONQ wants to break out of this range, then we'll have a different conversation. No, I didn't take Tesla. Cypher, Cypher could be interesting, really as a break a prior day high, but I see all these little wicks, all these little wicks. I think, just over $19 on strength looks better. Obviously you do have the 50-day right here, like the 1680s level. We kind of want to see that hold, but who knows if it will. VRT, oh man, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I don't really like that price action yesterday, but it is what it is. Do we short swing Tesla if it loses the 20 SMA? No. What? I mean, I guess you could, and you could short against it, but I'm not really trying to short Tesla. It's a big cup and a handle with the 200-day, turning up. Momentum has recently been up, momentum up off the same lower trend line. I mean, I'm trying to be very, very optimistic. That could be the wrong idea, and Tesla could fade right off the 20, but I'm trying to be optimistic. Tips on avoiding false breakouts. Trade stocks in the better groups. When I took AAOI, and normally this is something I do well, I should have been really dialed into what LITE and CIEN were doing. But I bought the 620 setup and the reclaim of VWAP, and it just didn't do a thing. Jazz looks better. Jazz looks pretty dang good. Do we just got to get going over 173? Kind of looks like it. Do I ever put alerts on where the stock hits the 200 EMA? What time period? I mean, technically the 200-day EMA would be the time period. Quantum still building higher lows? I mean, sure. I mean, you could look at it that way if you zoom way out and say to yourself, it's still building higher lows, but pretty sure these stocks just had a 50% correction. So if you want to draw your higher lows from last year, I guess. SGML lithium name. Yeah, a little sloppy here. Maybe finding some support against the rising 50. Not sure. Is it possible to catch the few stocks that run when the market is choppy? Yeah, of course it is. You could have bought SanDisk at 247 when my alert went off. Look at the prior push in quantum, same as now. No, it doesn't. What are you talking about, CJ? This looks nothing like over here. What are we talking about? This was like when this was happening, first of all, you had just made a huge move up. You then went through a 6-month consolidation of sideways. Now all of a sudden you make a second strong move up, and then you make a 60% move down, and you're not through a 6-month consolidation. So how the hell would that look the same? It wouldn't. Not even close. Literally not even close. Yeah, I look at relative volume on the day that it's trying to break out if it's got like a nice clean setup for a breakout. Lemonade, I mean, buying this thing off the 50 was probably the best bet. I mean, looking at it in hindsight. But again, a stock that's made a move up and then just digested, built higher lows, another third higher low right off the 50, got nice and tight. That's what you want to see. How would I add to A-Lab? A breakout over 185. Would love to see a Lemonade pullback. When you look at groups, you use FinViz, change to industry. Yeah. Should you be looking at, well, no, I don't look at one day. One day doesn't really make a trend, right? One day could just be like a short squeeze on one of the groups that have gotten most beat up. And then you don't really want to be focusing on that group just because of one day. Right? 1 month. What takeaway did I get from Kulamagi? Know your setups, focus on groups. Know your setups and focus on groups. Yeah, Rigetti literally had a picture perfect volatility contraction pattern before that breakout. Yeah, it was fantastic. And guess what? Had a rising 50 day. Rising 50 day. Now what's the difference? It has a falling 50 day. I don't make the rules. Now all of a sudden Rigetti literally has a falling 50 day. So how you can determine that this is anything similar to this is CJ. I have no idea. Yeah, I know all of my setups. That's why I trade them. I wouldn't trade them if I didn't know them. What do I think of Cypher and Iron? I mean, they're just a little choppy here. They're just a little choppy. You've got these like wide range bars, and then you bounce back, and then you kind of fade all day yesterday while the market's going, and then now they're gapping down a little bit overnight. Do they get bought up? It's tough, man. They're tough at the moment. I don't really see a spot on Iron for now, but I'm definitely paying attention to it. CleanSpark, similar story. I don't know why I'd want to own CleanSpark when you've got an Iron, a Cypher, an APLD, and a HUT. Right? I've got 4 other stocks that I can focus on that are definitely better. When do you not decide to hold overnight after entering? What percentage of an 8? Okay, so if I buy a breakout, I expect at least a couple percentage points above. I mean, it depends how quickly the stock moves, but call it like a half of an ADR or a full ADR from my entry in order to feel really comfortable holding it. Depends where I buy it, but like a half an ADR would be sweet. So like if the stock moves 4% per day, I'd want to be up at least 2% on it going into the close. I would just leave Oklo alone. Oklo doesn't really have much momentum here either. I mean, I guess you could look at it this is a nice little inside bar, but there's not really tons of momentum. I guess if you really wanted to take it, just remember the thing about Oklo before you go trading your stocks, this company's diluting $1.5 billion of paper. So please know that they've got an open offering and they're raising $1.5 billion. So just while you think you're sitting there, buying this thing, they're diluting on you for $1.5 billion until they close that offering. So it could work, while that offering's open, but well, I'm still trying to be active because I'm trying to get myself positioned, but I'm always using progressive exposure. Like I'm never just getting too much money into the market at one time. Like I'm not just going to go from 35, 40% invested to 100% invested in a single day. So, and meanwhile, I do still have stuff working for me, right? I have some longs working for me. I have some shorts working for me. So that's important. Do I think I would just have better results by just mastering one setup? No. No, I don't, because not every environment do you get VCP patterns. Not every environment is it high type flags. Not every environment, right? When you've just gone through a correction, the best entries might be undercut and rallies, right? After you've been in a little bit of an uptrend for a few months, your best entry might be flat based breakouts. When you're, towards the, you know, like longer end of a nice established uptrend, you might start to see a lot of high type flags. So no, I don't think that just mastering one setup, there's going to be a lot of times where you're just sitting on your hands, not making money because you're just waiting for one setup to appear. And, CJ, I'm a trader, man. So you got to just know your other setups. There's going to be times when you get EP setups or high volume close setups. ONDS, this is not too bad. Is it still a little extended from the 50 though? Nope, it's not. Yeah, not too bad. Speaking of high type flags, not bad, not bad. VSTS, nah, this 200 day is still falling. Even though we're trading just above the 200 day, let it get another push. Plus, it's so illiquid. So illiquid. Yeah, Palantir Weekly doesn't look good. Palantir does not look like a good chart here. Right? It looks like the path of least resistance is lower. It'll be good to check in on this one in a few weeks because the path of least resistance definitely feels like lower. I mean, I'm not trading these things, dude. How many shares is this thing trading? Oh, it's $100 million. It's kind of crazy. It really depends. If my stock is up a half ADR, but the stock market is down, then that's even showing some more relative strength. That's something that I might choose to keep. Would we call the last 2 days of Amazon tight? I don't know. I mean, do we just kind of view this as a pullback buy setup? In which case, maybe over $35. I mean, my equity curve peaked in would have been late November, because technically in December I was red on the month. So but yeah, I'm not far off from equity curve highs at the moment. So less than 3%. Could I look at MVTS? Sure. Big volatility in here. Man, hard to hold through some of this stuff. What did I learn from Dan Zanger? Momentum. Trading stocks with momentum. Did I have a drawdown this week? Yeah, but minimal. Well, I don't want to use the word minimal, because I technically took the biggest losing trade that I've had in 12 months. But it's not it's not a big deal, because I have had some winning trades with Baba and with A-Lab so far. So nothing that's that too big of a deal, honestly. CRS is not bad. Now this is a nice base. Now the question is this thing going to get going? But ultimately a pretty nice base here. BTG trades like 160 million bucks a day, so I could trade it. There's just no setup here for me. If I really, really wanted it, 120 was the time to buy it. Do I take an entry after the 5-minute opening range high? Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can. We might still have to break, like a clean range on the daily, but I might be playing it as an opening range break at first. Excuse the dog, guys. I just upload all my trades into TraderView, and then they get journaled. I don't actually journal my trades. Software does it for me. When do you set your stop to break even? If I can get like a 2-day push on something, I try to move my stop to break even, as quickly as possible. Like if I get like if I buy a good breakout and it moves, or if I buy like a dip into the 20. Okay, so like here's a good example. Like if you bought Rocket Lab yesterday, right, at like $84, and then you get a nice little push to 88. By chance, if you get another nice little push today to like 92, all of a sudden my stop goes to break even, right? I wouldn't be comfortable being up $8 on the thing and then watching this thing have to go down, 8% and then still leave my stop at break even, right? Like watching a stock go down 12% from where it's currently at, like that's just silly. So it's like if I'm in at 84 and we're now trading at 92, then my stop would be, up to break even at the very least. Yeah, I don't see Oklo at all. I don't really see a good setup here. It's not that clean. I don't journal my thoughts and feelings. Those don't matter. How I was feeling at the moment, I think that's, I don't necessarily believe in trader psychology. You hear people say that all the time. I don't believe in trading psychology whatsoever. If you have rules, then trading psychology's just another way to sell you a book. You're holding CCJ and BTU from December 30th and 31st. I mean, that's beautiful. Yeah, I thought maybe on Friday the 2nd, this thing was pretty good. And then BTU was perfect. It was just too thin for me to trade. Otherwise, I would have bought this thing. I don't know what got you to buy this thing, though, on the 31st. I mean, maybe just super tight against the 20. How you didn't get shaken out on the 5th. But I thought it was buyable on the 6th. And I just didn't buy it because it's just trading too thin, unfortunately. So then and kind of like looking at it now, part of me says for the future, I just got to buy smaller size. Just buy smaller size and then just let it work. And now all of a sudden you'd be up, $7-8 a share. Yeah, Tabi Journey, I do. Sorry, guys, the sun's hitting the camera. Is APLD not going to do anything today? It might. I just don't know if if Iron's gonna cooperate. I would assume if Iron and Cypher are pushing, so will APLD. I mean, Rocket Lab, when you take your entry yesterday, it starts to pay you right away. So it doesn't really matter, right? If this thing wants to come and chop you out, let it come and chop you out. It's like you knew what your stop was going to be anyway. It was $3. So it's like you have to size properly for that. Yeah, but rules are going hand in hand with feeling. No, I don't think so, dude. If you're not following your rules, it's because you don't love your money enough. Period. If you've got firm rules and you know they work over time, you just follow them. If you don't have rules and you don't have something that works over time, right? Like I could be wrong, but I know if I just continue to do what I'm doing for the next 12 months this year, I'll be green. So I'm not really worried about that too much. I think that's the important part. So I'm not really too worried. I think people who think about their feelings and not following the rules, and they're just like, oh, I'm just messing up. I can't follow my rule. You just don't have concrete anything. You don't have a concrete strategy. Your rules kind of suck. So it's like you're going back and forth between what works and what doesn't. Your sizing's improper. Your patience is improper. A lot of little things. You entered Rocket Lab at 83.50. Oh man, I'm very jealous, dude. I'm out here buying AAOI instead of Rocket Lab yesterday. I'm buying APLD instead of Rocket Lab yesterday. It's just a bit frustrating. I gotta say, my stock selection. It's like I'm out there buying Reddit and A Lab instead of SNDK. Right, a couple of different decisions this month, and it's a super nice month. But you start to have bad stock selection, and that's half the battle. But at least the stocks are on the radar, right? That's important. My thoughts on Pony. I think Chinese equities are starting to really shape up. Pony, not. It needs a little bit more work here, right? There's nothing special about this setup just yet. Baba, I'm hopefully this thing could, shape up to be a nice winner. Boy, I had some nice trims on this thing yesterday. Soon as this thing was cracking VWAP, I was taking some off the table. Guys, got to get my butt moving. Hopefully you guys all have a super nice weekend. Just making sure I'm not going crazy and losing my time. Yeah, I will see you guys on Monday. Have an awesome trading day today. Any questions? I'm going to try to do, I still have yet to do my December recap. Life's been a little hectic here. but I'll try to get it done this weekend and kind of go over December and then lessons learned last year. So, yeah, have a great rest of your trading day, and I will talk to you guys on Monday. Later.